Good evening, everyone. So today we're doing three vegetables, nothing terribly traditional. I thought I'd go off-piste a bit, but three super tasty vegetable dishes that'll all work very well with Christmas. The first thing I just wanted to say before we start is I have said one saucepan for boiling broccoli. We're probably going to need two because you've also got to boil the parsnips as well. So if you want to just have that on the side, and obviously your kettle brought to the boil. Excellent. So the first thing we need to do is our roasted garlic. So you basically take one bulb of garlic like that. You're better off using a serrated knife, and all we're going to just lob the very top off. So the top fifth, just exposing the top of the garlic. So it looks like that, just like that. And then on the same tray, what we're going to do is we're going to add our onions. So in the instructions, I've mentioned a medium-sized, two medium-sized onions. I've actually got three here just because they came in packs of three. And you cut them about 1 centimeter thick. So give or take, it's not essential. Basically what we're going to do, we're going to pop that on the same tray as the garlic. And all your oven should be preheated to 220 degrees, which is quite warm. You kind of want these a little bit charred. So all we're going to do is a little bit of olive oil. It's not an exact science, you can just sprinkle it on like that. Probably about 3 tablespoons, and that's going to get them nicely crispy. And then some on your garlic as well. And then of course, as everyone knows, I love salt, a little bit of salt. And then it's going to go in the oven for approximately half an hour. We'll have a look in about 20 minutes. But you basically want those onions nicely roasted. So onions and garlic in the oven, 220 for about 20 minutes, 20 minutes to half an hour. We'll pop those in. And all those are going to form parts of the crushed roasted parsnip and carrot dish. Right, so the next thing we need to do is then also roast our carrots. So you need a second tray for that. That's also going to go in the oven. So I've just cut the carrots up very roughly. You don't need to peel them. That's at a size. We're going to put a little bit of olive oil on there, just like that. A little bit of salt. And you give them a good mix, and a good toss like that, and then onto the tray. So as I say, it's always better if you can to use a shallow tray. They get much nicely more better roasted like that, with slightly higher sides. They seem to steam a bit, but these are going to cook for probably about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. All you really want them to do is soften, and then get a little bit charred on the edges, and we are going to crush those with the parsnips. So in the same oven, if you've got different shelves, I'd probably say have the onions and the garlic at a lower shelf and the carrots at a higher shelf, because you want them slightly more charred. So we're going to pop those in the oven. Excellent. So while those are cooking, we are going to do the celeriac. So I thought I would do celeriac tonight. Celeriac is not the most common vegetable. It's really delicious. Part of the same family as celery. You don't actually get celeriac in South Africa, so it was new to me when we first came over here, my wife and I, but I think they're brilliant, really nice. So you can crush these, you can roast them. They're actually really nice raw. You can thinly slice them and chop them up with a little bit of mayonnaise. They call that a remoulade. That's really good. What we're going to do with these, we're going to make a puree. So what we want to do is we want to boil these. We're going to parboil them for roughly 10 minutes. So as I said, they're going to be chopped up 2 centimeter pieces like that. If they're slightly bigger, it doesn't make a difference. Irregular pieces. So we're going to put them into a boiling pan of water, a little pinch of salt, and we will cook them for 10 minutes. But the way you check that is basically popping a knife in, but we'll do that together. So right now, these celeriac are going to go into the water. Excellent. So hopefully we've got a second pan on the boil for broccoli. So I've said 2 heads of broccoli. I mean, these are quite big, but for this would probably feed, I would probably say 6 people. So you don't have to use both. They're slightly smaller. I would say 2, but these are big ones. As I said, I'm using both, but I'd probably say that'd probably do at least 6 to 8 people if you're doing it with other veg as well. I purposely haven't said cut the broccoli down because I want to do that with you this evening. And one of the things I think is really key with broccoli, people tend just to cut the tops off and they leave the stalks and they throw those away. The way I think the best way to do broccoli is basically to grab in one hand, knife in the other, and you slide the florets off like that, and you want that. So this bit here is completely edible, absolutely delicious. In fact, I'll tell you a story. There's a restaurant, a 1 Michelin star restaurant in the city called City Social, a Jason Atherton restaurant. He actually has a dish on his menu which is just basically the stalk of the broccoli as the major part of the dish. I think he charges like 14 quid for that or something like that as a starter. And obviously goes with a few other bits and bobs, but broccoli stalk is really delicious. So as you can see, I'm cutting long bits like that, just to show you that once again. Phil will show that on the screen. There we go, just like that. Very good, excellent. You can see Pam Lamb cooking. I've got a monitor with me today so I can see who's cooking and who's watching. I know I'm going to slow down. I'm just going to carry on. I'm going to do both heads of broccoli. If they're really big pieces like that, you can just cut them down in half. So just a little bit about cooking vegetables on Christmas Day. I think your best friend on Christmas Day is your microwave when it comes to veggies, because they simply don't hold out very well, especially green veg. They tend to discolor, and I think once they're overcooked, they kind of lose their flavor really, really quickly. So what we're going to do today, I'll just show you one of the tricks. We're going to boil broccoli in rapidly boiling water. Broccoli is really quick to cook. I'd probably say 4 or 5 minutes in a big pan of boiling water, salted water, and then straight into cold water after that. That'll stop the process. Now for Christmas, you can definitely do this the day before. On the day is also fine, but just one of the jobs to get out the way is to boil all your green veg, and it applies to green beans, cabbage, green cabbage, all that sort of thing. So that's the broccoli. Hopefully you all have pans ready. I'm just going to double check that my pan of boiling water is ready to go. Ready to go. So at this stage, your celeriac should be on a rolling boil. You kind of want that nicely cooked. You can't really go wrong with celeriac. You can't really overcook it as such. In fact, you can roast a celeriac whole. Takes about an hour and a half, and it's really, really delicious to do it like that. And you can cut it into wedges, serve it with a nice flavored butter. Really, really great. So broccoli is going to go into rapidly boiling water. And probably for about 4 or 5 minutes. So the key part here is you need to wait for that water to come back to the boil. It's pointless waiting 4 minutes if the water hasn't started moving yet. And obviously the more water you have in your pot, the quicker it'll come back to the boil. So that's going to go in the pot now, and I'll talk you through the next process. So that is the broccoli in the water. It's probably going to take a good couple of minutes to come up to the boil, so we'll do the next step. So the next step for the broccoli is something so super easy to make, really, really delicious, and something that you can keep in your fridge for literally for months. It won't spoil, which is basically a chili and garlic oil. So people normally get a little bit pernickety about chili. They don't want something too hot. I use these guys here. These are available from Tesco's, Waitrose, Sainsbury's. They're a Dutch chili. They're really mild. The minute you cut them in half and scrape the seeds out, you're probably losing about 60% of your heat. Needless to say, when you do prep these things, to wash your hands really, really well, because all you need to do is scratch your eye and that's it. You're going to have a red eye for the rest of the day. So Dutch chili, I've got 3 here. They're quite large, and I've sliced them thinly. So that's that sort of thickness like that. And then 3 cloves of garlic. With this recipe, you can bulk up 4, 5, 6 times. It works really, really well. And as I said, because it's in oil, it doesn't spoil. It lasts for ages. And with this mix, we're going to dress the broccoli with this evening. But you can put this in soups, dress on any vegetables you like. And when it's cold, you can mix a little bit of vinegar and honey and make a dressing. And it's not a hot, fiery chili at all. You've melted those flavors down quite nicely. So I said 100 mils of oil. I've got slightly more chili and garlic, so I'm probably going to go 150. And what we're going to do with this, we're going to pop this on the stove. And what you really want, you've got a question?
Yes. Did you add salt to the broccoli water?
Did we add salt?
Yeah.
Yes. Always salt, yeah.
Uh,
So you can well season that water. People kind of get a bit, nervous about adding too much salt to water, but when you boil broccoli, you can take a lot of salt on it. It won't come out salty, but I think salt's important when boiling veg. And if you're going to do 2 batches of veg, you can sometimes even put salt in a second time because you will have an absorption from the first batch of veg cooking.
Ian loves salt.
I do like
So any
salt.
opportunity-
And while we're talking about salt, I'm just going to have another plug for this. You probably heard me saying this, but this is a really, really good salt. Whoops. Malvern sea salt, phenomenal salt. It's very pure, it's very good. It is slightly stronger than other salt because it's got crystals. You tend to use less. It's delicious, really, really good salt. So, oil and chili and garlic in your pan. What you want to do with this now is you want to bring this to a boil. You basically want to fry your garlic and your chili. And what you want to do is you want to turn that garlic from white to a golden brown. Now you need to be really careful. You don't want your pan too hot. You obviously want movement, activity in the pan, but what you don't want it to burn. So you don't want to get it too hot. So I would say a medium to high heat, but not full wax. So on the induction hob we've got a scale of 1 to 10. I'm probably going to put it on about a 6. And once you've done that, I think the broccoli might be ready to come off. So let me pop that on.
How are you all getting on, everybody? All right? Yeah, thumbs up. Yeah, lovely, lovely. Yeah, they're all doing fine, Ian.
So the broccoli has been boiling now for 4 minutes. I'm not sure if your guys are ready yet, but that for me is cooked. And all you want to do is just get a basin of cold water. You can just drain this in the sink and put cold water on top. I'm going to show you. Simply get a slotted spoon. I've got a super large slotted spoon here, and that goes straight into, what is that pretty better? Straight into cold water, and that is straight away going to stop the cooking process. What I will interject just to say is broccoli on a barbecue. I know probably barbecues are a million miles away from our minds at the moment. But broccoli in a barbecue is amazing as well. Blanched just like this, and then put onto some hot coals. Really, really tasty for a salad. So that's the broccoli. I'm just going to strain the water now. And then what you really want to do is have some water aside. We still need to boil the parsnips. So that's the third thing we're going to boil. I'm probably going to put a little bit more cold water on. This water's sort of warmish now. To stop the process completely, I'm going to put a little bit more cold water on this. There we go. Okay, great. So, depending what sort of stove you've got, if you've got induction or gas, that oil should be getting hot quite quickly. I've already got a little bit of movement in the pan. And yeah, it's important to keep an eye on that chili and that garlic. You don't want to burn that, but there's definitely needs to be some movement because you are frying the garlic and the chili. And what that's going to do, that's going to dissipate the flavor of the chili into the oil, and it's also going to make it not as punchy. So that's come to the boil now. I think what we're going to do, I'm just going to have a quick squiz at the celeriac. So I'll just bring the celeriac over here. And what we're going to do is going to take a piece out. As I said, you can't really go wrong with celeriac. Just have a quick prod. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of got a little bit of resistance. I would probably say that's 2/3 cooked, and that's ready to strain. So just to explain the process of the celeriac, you basically want to just make sure, as I said, it's got a little bit of resistance. We're going to strain this. We're then going to cover it with a little bit of cream, a little bit of butter, and some milk, and we're going to bring it back to the boil. That last quarter of the cooking process is going to take place with that cream and milk. All the flavor of the celeriac will go into that, and then I'll show you the next step after that. So right now, you should all be at the point where you can strain your celeriac. Are we all good in that place now? You can see Pam Lamb cooking away. She's not there yet. She's waving. Okay. That's fine. There's no rush with this at all. This obviously is done on this side, so I'm just going to strain that. So that's strained. I'm going to wait until everyone's finished before I add the next step. But that doesn't need to be refreshed at all. You're not going to lose color. They're basically, they won't really carry on cooking. And they're quite happy just to be like that. So I'll leave that to one side. What we're going to do next, though, is to put on the parsnips. So the parsnips are going to form part of the carrot and parsnip dish. You really want to just cook these until they're nice and soft. Parsnips do take I would probably say about 5 to 6 minutes to cook with boiling water. You've noticed I've left the sort of the stalky bit inside. That's absolutely fine. If they're really massive parsnips, you might want to take those out. But at this time of year, they're still quite young and they're perfect. So this needs to go on your hob now, brought to the boil. And we're going to cook that for about 6 minutes. So popping that on now as well.
Right, Ethan, how are Mum and Dad getting on? Are they getting on all right? Oh, yes, there's a thumbs up. Excellent. Emily, or Simon, how are the people in your house getting on? Oh, yeah. Oh.
What I want to find out is everyone having just veggies for dinner tonight? Or are you guys going to be having meat with your veggies? Is it going to be a vegetarian dinner or not? No.
Oh, the Hardings are having sausages.
Oh, well, that's fine. This actually goes really, really well with that stuffing roll we made last week. Really, really nicely. But as a standalone veggie dinner, this is absolutely perfect.
Oh, great. Charlotte, how are you getting on? Oh, yeah. Double. That was a double. Oh, and Jeff, hello. Lovely.
Excellent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a quick squiz of those carrots now, just to make sure they're not overcooking. I'll just show you where we're at with that. So these are the carrots here. These are just about done. But that's kind of what you want color-wise. They're getting nice and golden brown. They're nearly getting soft. Some of them are soft, but I'll probably say about another 6 minutes and they're good to go. But if you see that sort of color, that's a delicious roasted flavor you're going to have on those carrots. So don't be concerned that you think they're burning. They're absolutely perfect like that. Have you got a question?
Yes, I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine, Pam. Off you go.
How's everyone's chili and garlic? With a question.
Pam cooked the parsnips instead of the celeriac.
Oh, that's fine. So what do you want to do now is switch that, strain the parsnips, and cook the celeriac. Yeah? But they'll need to be separate though.
Ian?
Yes.
Your oven must be quite hot.
It's on 220, it is fan assisted, and it is a commercial oven, so yeah, I mean look, if it's not ready yet, there's no rush at all. We've got plenty of time, and I would let it carry on cooking.
Okay.
That's fine, not a
Right.
problem. So how's everyone's garlic and chili? What we're going to do with that, just to give you the heads up, we've got a lemon. I've said to cut it into half and slice it thinly. I've cut these into quarters, that sort of size. And what's going to happen is these are going to go straight into the oil once the garlic and the chili is cooked. And that's going to slow the process down completely. Because what will obviously happen is that oil will carry on cooking. You take it off the stove, you'll still get a lot of heat in there. As I said, you don't want to burn those... burn that garlic. It does become bitter. Is everyone else on track? Have you got a thumbs up? Thumbs up. I've got lots of thumbs up.
Oh no.
Is there a thumbs up from the Harding household?
Medium.
Medium. Okay, there's no rush. It's fine. There's no rush at all.
No, Pam's going thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Well, that's fine. Look, there's no rush at all. I'm going to carry on my side.
Okay. There's no more questions coming on the chat yet, I don't think.
If you do have, if your ovens are not fan assisted, you could probably sort of jack them up to about 240, I would have thought. But they should be on 220 as it is. And non-fan assisted, I'll probably say 240. You always need to go a little bit higher with non-fan assisted ovens by 20 degrees.
Oh, Pam is saying, what's on plate?
What's what?
What's on plate? What's on the plate?
Oh, this plate here, lemons, the sliced lemons. So with that broccoli recipe, we had chili, we had garlic, and we had lemons. The lemons, the instruction was slice them in half, the lemon in half, and then slice them thinly. I've done quarters, just because it was quite a large lemon. My ginger, my chili, and my garlic are basically there. Can you get an inside shot there, Phil, and see that bit of activity? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the lemon. I'm not going to add all of them. There's quite a lot there. So the lemons, and you probably think this is quite odd. This is like raw lemon rind and all. So this will be delicious. So that's going to go in the pan, and you give that a bit of a stir, and that's going to cool down. So like I said, this to dress vegetables is delicious. Once this is cooled down, into a jar, into your fridge, it'll keep for months and months, if it lasts that long. I mean, it's such a delicious thing. Once you find, how delicious it tastes on vegetables, it can go onto anything. It's like dressings, in salads, all sorts of things, on a spoonful on soup. So the oil's also going to, the heat of oil will also soften your lemons as well, and make it really super tasty. So I'm going to take a piece of garlic out. Can you do a major zoom there, Phil? See that garlic there? So that garlic is like a nice golden brown color. Let's have a squiz. There we go. Look at that. Oops, in it goes. So that's it. That's what you want from your oil. So that's good to go. I didn't add all the lemon. Now, how's everyone doing on the celeriac? Pam is saying no.
Oh, Ali, let's have a look at that. Yeah. What do you
Very
think,
good.
Ali?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do. How much longer, Pamford, do you reckon for your celeriac, do you think? 5 minutes.
5
Okay,
minutes.
perfect. That's great. So let's have a look at our parsnips. As I said, these don't take long to cook at all. Grab a spoon. They do need to be soft. So just a knife inside there, just have a quick squiz. They've got a little bit of resistance to them, so they're going to go back on to the stove. They won't be that much longer. Any other questions at this stage? One thing I will say, actually, in terms of Christmas dinner and getting everything together, coordinated on the same day, one of the things that we use, would you believe, if I confess to this, is frozen roast potatoes. Now, that I think for me, I know, absolutely. But what I will say is, I mean, besides the fact that Sky loves the potatoes, is Waitrose frozen roast potatoes, which, unlike other Waitrose products, don't have a massive surcharge to that. I think you pay probably about £2 a bag, but they are really, really good. And if you've got so many things, roast potatoes in the day, one of those things, you've got to boil them, you've got to cool them into a roasting tray. The ones from Waitrose come pre-coated with some fat on them. Really, really easy to make. So it's one less thing to think about on Christmas Day. And like I said, all these vegetables here can be made the day before and popped in the microwave. The celeriac puree probably can go in a double boiler to reheat. So what we're going to do now, we're going to move on to our celeriac. So that has been cooked in salt water, so you don't want to add too much salt at this stage, but you do want to add a little bit of salt. So I'm going to add some salt to that. And then, so this is obviously, it is Christmas, so we can splurge a bit. This is going to be quite a luxurious dish, but we're going to put 150 mils of double cream onto that. It's a 300 ml tub, so half of that. And also just to mention, this with a spoonful of horseradish is amazing, really, really lovely with a roast beef dinner. Then your stock cube goes in, either stock cube powder or the pot, or this is just one of the cubes, oxo or Knorr cube, crumbled in, and then some milk. So now the key part of this is what you don't want to do is you don't want this to be too runny. What you have with, when you boil cream and milk, you have it boiling up, which would be perfect. So you don't want to cover this with your liquid. You really want to leave, I would say, the top quarter of your celeriac exposed. When this comes to the boil, that liquid will cover the veg completely. And the reason for that is you want to create a puree, not really a sort of a runny soup, if you like, because that's basically what happens. So a little bit of milk in there. And then we're going to put some nutmeg. I didn't put nutmeg, optional. Nutmeg's one of those things. It's sort of quite an old-fashioned spice, but really, really, really good. And especially with something like this, you don't want to ever use too much. It's very overpowering, but just subtly with root veg is amazing. So I've got a whole nutmeg. You can get the powder as well. I find these are they last longer in the cupboard. But I'm probably going to put about a third of that in, which I'm going to grate in. But like I said, you can use powder or fresh or whole. It's absolutely fine. You give it a bit of a stir, and then that goes back onto the stove onto a relatively high heat. You want that to come to the boil. You obviously be mindful that there's obviously high fat content in cream, so you don't want it to burn and catch the bottom. So a heavy based pan is quite a good idea at this stage. So this is going to go onto the stove and brought to the boil, and I'll probably say 5 minutes to 6 minutes, and it'll be cooked. So that's going to go on. And at this stage, my parsnips are going to come off. They're definitely cooked. You can see they kind of swell up. They're starting to fall apart. So that's good to go now. I'm going to strain these. You want these to be quite dry. Right, there's my parsnips. One thing I will say is the broccoli, now that it's cooled down in that water, probably quite a good time now to drain that. You don't really want that to be too wet, so nicely drained. I'm going to drain the broccoli as well. So, as you can see, the broccoli, I mean, that's beautiful green color. And that'll stay like that. That, as I say, cling filmed in the fridge for the next day will be absolutely fine. But you're going to keep that beautiful color. This is your challenge on Christmas Day is when you cook vegetables like that fresh, and then you put them in a serving dish. You cut your turkey and you serve your roast potatoes. By the time you get to your broccoli, it's been another 5-10 minutes in that pot steaming, and it so quickly gets overcooked. So just like that is perfect. If you wanted to, at this stage as well, you can also cut them down. I'll just show you. If you wanted to, you can cut them even smaller, cut them in half, and have pieces like that. It's entirely up to you. That's quite nice for a salad. I'm going to leave them chunky like that. But that's your broccoli. Right. So how is everyone doing?
Yeah, looks good. Lots of thumbs up. I think we're all right.
Thumbs up. Are we all on target?
Pam's disappearing under steam.
The Hardings look very relaxed and calm, though there are 3 of them cooking, so, and there's a thumbs up as well.
Yeah.
Or 4 of them cooking, shall I say.
No, Ali's doing all right.
Okay,
Ollie,
I
chili
think
good?
by now, for this oven definitely, I think the carrots and the onions and the garlic should be good. So I'm going to take this out of the oven.
It looks very controlled in Ali and Claire's kitchen as well. Yeah.
So I just want to show you something very quickly. So these carrots, people look at that and think, oh my word, those are now completely overcooked. Not at all. These will be absolutely perfect. That little outside coating has got a lovely caramelized flavor, and inside the carrot, they will still be, I'll just cut one in half. You still have that nice sort of orange flesh like that. So you've got a nice coating and a soft carrot. So those are perfect. I'll put those on the side. We have a quick squiz at our onions and our garlic. So this is what you want your onions to look like. So just to draw attention to the fact that I have left the skins on. What we're going to do is we're going to pop those outer skins. So I've kind of left them there as an outside protection, so you don't use that last layer of onion. At this stage, if you wanted to, you could sprinkle a little balsamic vinegar on there, a little bit of cider vinegar. Because they've cooked roasted like that, they come out quite sweet, and the vinegar is a nice sort of contrast. And then your garlic is beautifully roasted. So roasted garlic is a million miles away from raw garlic. It's become sweeter, the flavor a lot more subtle, and delicious. And you can, I mean, this is obviously probably about 10 cloves in there, and that for the parsnip and carrot dish is absolutely perfect. It won't be overpowering. It's got a lovely flavor. You can roast this. You can pop this into stews, into soups. This into mayonnaise on a chicken burger will be amazing. Really, really good. So that's your garlic. I'm going to leave that there. So we're nearly time to bring everything together. Just have a quick look at your celeriac. What you don't want is it to catch. The cream will definitely start to evaporate. So you need to watch that reduce. You do want that to happen, but what you don't want that to do is to catch at all. So I'm going to carry on cooking it probably another 5 minutes. Right, how are we doing? Are we all good? So we are now going to start. Do you think we can start assembling the carrot and parsnip dish? Is everyone in a good place?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So take a bowl, and this is what you do. So you need a potato masher. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the creme fraiche in first. I've said 300 grams. I think that's quite a lot, looking at the amount of carrots and parsnips. So this is a 200 gram pot. I think this is perfect. That's going to go in your bowl. And obviously, you know, with this veg, you've got quite sweet veg. Parsnips are quite sweet. Carrots are quite sweet as well. The creme fraiche would be perfect accompaniment because it's got that sort of acidity to it, and it works really, really well. It's nice and creamy. It's obviously got that nice rich fat content. For Christmas, it's perfect. And then your garlic. Now you need to be quite careful because this garlic is going to be quite hot still. If you want to use a cloth, but basically all you want to do, for maybe we can get that closer with that, is basically squeeze that, and your garlic just pops out like that. Get it all out. Doesn't matter if you get a few of the garlic leaves. And if you smell these cloves, they're delicious, really, really nice. It's got such a nice flavor and a completely different, as I said, to the raw garlic. Goes away. So the garlic's going to go inside the bowl with the creme fraiche. Let's make sure I've not forgotten anything with that. Nutmeg again. So nutmeg with parsnips, carrots, also really, really nice, and a nice Christmassy flavor too. So I'm going to put a little bit of nutmeg in there. In it goes. And then definitely salt. Always a little bit of salt. And the salt goes. And then the parsnips. So your parsnips should still be quite warm now. Parsnips go in. And what you'll notice with the creme fraiche, the minute it hits heat, it sort of gets soft and it starts to melt, which is basically what you want. It'll lose that thick consistency. So don't be sort of alarmed by that. And all you want to do is you want to mash that. A little bit of black pepper to this wouldn't go amiss either, actually. So give it a nice, good mash. And you're thinking, gosh, that looks quite wet, but we still got our carrots to add, so give it a good mash. And then it's probably a good time to have a quick look at your celeriac. I think I've caught mine just in time. It's just starting to stick to the base. You can get that sizzling. And I'd say that's probably ready now. It's obviously key that you just make sure that your celeriac is nice and soft. This is perfect. If it's not soft, you can carry on cooking it. If it does get a bit dry, you can add a little bit more water, because all you're really doing is you're evaporating the water, but the water can go in. I want to just cool this down because I'm going to be pureeing this. I'm going to be using a NutriBullet, but you can use a liquidizer or a handheld blender. But that will literally explode. So if you cool that down a bit, into the fridge it's going to go. Right, And then back to your veg. So the carrots are cooled down. I said 400 grams. I probably did a few more carrots. They're going to go into your parsnip mash. So the idea behind this dish is that you can have a contrast of flavors. You basically got a soft mash of the parsnip, and then what you want to do now is just be a little more gentle, and you want to crush the carrots with this as well. But what you're wanting is a kind of a marbled effect. So we're going to crush those a bit more. And then on the recipe, we've also got some chives. Chives going to go in, just roughly chopped up. And as I said, what you really want is a kind of a marbled effect. Just going to have a quick taste, just to make sure the seasoning is good. That's really tasty. This works with any veg, as in pumpkins, butternut squash. Really, really good. So we haven't finished there. I've got a plate to show you. So what we're going to do, you can make a massive pile of this in a pot, in a serving dish, or individually plated, which we're going to do now. There we go. I probably put a few more, too many chives in there. So listen, at the moment, that's not going to win the awards in a beauty contest. But fear not. What we'll do is that you then get your onions, and you kind of just loosen them up. You put a few onions on top like that. And then just for good measure, a few more chives. These will probably be cut a bit smaller. But if you eat that with the stuff we made last week, it is super, super delicious. That's really, really nice. So that's your veg number one. Then your veg number two is your broccoli. Say again? Yeah, let's see how everyone's doing. Is everyone's...
Right, how you doing? Francis, how you getting on? Oh, yes, I think she's fine. Yeah, lovely.
Are we good?
Good. Ali, all right? Yes, she's got bowls in her hand. Right, everybody else looks fine. Claire and Ali, how are you doing? Yes, very under control there, I think.
Are we good?
Yeah, I think it's looking fine.
Excellent. So I'm going to put all the veg on one plate. So the next thing we're doing is the broccoli. I've done quite a lot. I'm going to take about half of this out. So I'm going to cheat slightly because we're on camera and you can't see temperature. But what you want to do is whack that in the microwave oven for about 2 or 3 minutes, just to heat up. That's all you really want it to do to get hot. But as I say, we're not going to, because we're on camera, we can. I'm going to pop that in the bowl like that. And you can mix your chili ginger, your garlic and your lemon and chili in advance and then heat it up. But what are we going to do? We're going to put a spoon of that. So you can just judge for yourself. The key part of this dish is instead of dressing the broccoli on the plate, you want to put that in a bowl and you're going to give that a good mix and get everything tossed in that lovely flavor. The beauty of this dish is instead of everything having a chili flavor, as you bite into the chili, you'll get that flavor, and then the next bite will be less chili. It just kind of, it's mixed up around it, but you basically got those three elements: chili, lemon, and the garlic. Really, really nice. And then I'm actually going to, for good measure, probably add a bit of salt. You can have a little bit of taste and see what you think. But probably needs a bit of salt. This is a salad, amazing. If you had to grill these chaps on the barbecue, be really, really nice. And those are quite punchy flavors you've got there. So broccoli's the perfect carrier for that. Really, really good. And then we're going to put more of those on. And like I said, that mix, you can make that. I mean, you made that today, that would last you well past Christmas. So that's that. And then the last little bit of flavor you want to there are some toasted almonds. So did I mention toasting them? Yeah, flaked almonds toasted. So about 20 grams, just sprinkled on top like that. And that's going to give a nice crunch to your broccoli. So that's your next one there. And that's lovely, really, really nice. Something slightly different for Christmas as well. So let's get our celeriac out. So the part we want to do now is we basically want to puree this. So you can use a liquidizer, you can use a hand blender. I think the NutriBullet's fantastic for this because it's really, really, it's an efficient blender, and it'll take it'll make the mix really, really smooth. That's what you want. So you want just enough liquid in here just to get the celeriac to mix around. You don't want to fill this too much. If you've got a liquidizer, that's fine. You can do it in one hit. And if you've got a hand blender, the same thing as well. Jane, question?
Can you
Show what the... So that's the...
how much?
Okay, I'm gonna put this is probably gonna go 3/4, because it's cubed and it'll sink down. Pop that in there. And then, but please, can I just warn you, please, if this is too warm, do not put it in the NutriBullet. You need to wait a bit for it to cool down, because as it spins, it gets hot when you unscrew push. I've done it about 4 or 5 times. Shouldn't you really do that once, but yeah, I've done it a couple of times. Be really, really careful. So in it goes. And now mine's got quite dry. This pan's quite large. It was cooking quite rapidly, so I'm going to put a little bit of liquid in here now to make sure that blitzes down. And I'm going to add to that some of that milk. So, for those of you who've got a NutriBullet, you just put it on top like that. So it does make a huge racket. Let me see if I can put this bring this into shot. The cable's a bit too short. Anyway, it's going to go in. Going to be very noisy for a couple of minutes. Okay, so you just be careful when you release the top. That's fine. See, there's a little bit of a release there, and then I'm just going to taste that. Is that our extraction? Switch that off.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's have a quick taste and see. That is so delicious. It kind of reminds me of bread sauce. I'm not sure why. Needs a bit more salt. You can put some pepper in here as well if you want. And as I said, a little bit of horseradish goes very well. You can probably put some lemon juice in here as well. I'm going to make that a little bit smoother. So I'm going to put it in for another 20 seconds in the NutriBullet. The key part is that there's movement in that in this dish, in this bowl, so that you can see that it's mixing. One thing I've forgotten to pop in there, and I'm going to pop that in now, is if you think there's enough decadence in there, I'm going to put part of the recipe I completely forgot. It's absolutely fine to go in now, is 50 grams of butter. So this is not for the faint-hearted, but obviously butter, everything tastes better with butter. So butter's going to go in as well. Just going to wipe that down. Okay, that's in. That's it. The beauty of this is it's just a really, really sort of it's obviously not creamy, without stating the obvious, but it's just delicious. When you've got things like turkey or any poultry, it's another sort of creamy element to your dish. So that's going to go. Now what I'm going to do is put some in, so to make sure that spoon's nice and clean. As it's quite rich. I've used one celeriac here. This will probably do enough for probably about 6 people. And then just a spoon on the plate, just like that. Give it more. Here we go. It's a beautiful accompaniment to any roast meat, and which for it's a vegetarian. You could probably let it out with a bit of vegetable stock and turn that into a soup. Be really, really nice. Celeriac and mushroom go very well. And I think we have reached the end of our cooking. I don't see too much activity. Looks like everyone's there.
Oh no, Charlotte's enjoying the pan.
She likes the celeriac.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, it is very rich, but I mean, for Christmas, you can't go wrong. It's a really, really nice thing to have with your turkey.
It smells delicious.
In fact, it's good any time of year, really, to be fair. Excellent. So that, with 10 minutes to go, is the veg.
Wow.
Yeah, so all good. Any questions?
Any
Hope you all
questions?
enjoyed that. And hopefully,
Oh yeah.
we'll make at least one of these items for Christmas.
Ali's showing you hers.
Let's have a
There you
squiz.
go. Yeah.
Very nice.
Lovely.
Lovely. Very, very nice.
Lovely.
Very good.
Oh, it looks really good, Ian. Yeah. Fantastic. Did everybody get on all right? Yes. Yes. Hardings are looking forward to it with their sausages.
Yes. Be good.
Lovely. Oh yeah. Oh, look. Can you see again?
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So I mean, that also, as I said, for a salad, the broccoli be amazing. But as a hot dish as well, works very, very well. Very nice. Very, very
Oh.
good.
Excellent. So next week we've got pudding.
Yes, chocolate brownie, really, really nice recipe. And whole wheat bread ice cream, which is not a ploy to get your kids to eat whole wheat bread. It's super, super delicious.